Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Kardec Radio, where we're here to nourish our souls. I'm Norah, the host of this program, taught by Joanna de Angelis and Divaldo Franco through this amazing book. I'm going to open out my book to show inside. This is my dog who chews just about everything, friends. If we have puppies like that, we know how it is, huh? But here inside, look at the messages, friends. Beautiful, so small yet deep, profound, and they bring lots and lots of reflection for us as today's message. And it's too funny, friends. So let me share the screen. All right, here we go. So the little things, right? Joanna and Divaldo say small things, delicate emotions, unconscious wishes that come true, and personal achievements that bring inner peace make for happiness. So first, let's look at the small little things and how can that bring happiness? Well, there's a story, friends. How many of us would be afraid of this story if we were to see it in our soup? Well, Chico Xavier once again set the tone, set the bar really high as well for us, because this story is truly admirable. So the story goes that Chico finally accepts to go and have dinner with Dona Josefina, who had this huge desire to have Chico over. Very humble lady, but to know she was also blind, right? Finally has Chico there. So she makes soup with all her heart, and as Chico is sort of going through the soup, he finds a cockroach in there, right? And simultaneously, Dona Josefina is like, Chico, are you enjoying my soup? I made it with great care for you. And Chico, right? He responded, it's wonderful, my dear sister. I'm deeply grateful for your kindness. Seeing her joy, Chico prioritized her happiness over his discomfort, friends. So he continued eating, engaging in the conversation at the table. By the end of the meal, he realizes that he'd eaten the whole soup, including the cockroach. So here is an example how Chico's small sacrifice brought immense joy to Dona Josefina, which is really a price he gladly paid to honor her love and admiration. So this is a story, friends, where we can really break down this scenario. But at the end of the day, yes, it's comical and it's funny and it's maybe a little bit gross because friends, I don't know if I could do it, honestly. But at the same time, reflecting on this, though, Chico's mindset was in such a different place, right? As an elevated soul, the one and only, right? That he was able to use that inner happiness, that peace, that joy in the moment, elevate the situation and not necessarily react with the lower vibrations that some of us might. I probably would have yelled, I don't know. But he did it again. Why? Because as we evolve, right, we're able to build our mindset to that level. But we see here in this how our small little things, right, can be big, can be huge. But what's so beautiful, friends, is the fact that this story is not about materialistic concepts, because there's so many stories. Oh, I donated something and then we had all these ripple effects, and those are beautiful stories. But a story like Chico, where we do something because it comes from the inner soul, right? Now we're looking at this differently, kind of how Joanna's wanting us to take it to that level. And the beautiful thing now we have too is research. In this particular website, friends, American Psychiatric Association, they have this, it's a little older, but the numbers might have changed, but it still gives us an idea, back from November 8th, 2023, how this new poll says that small acts of kindness makes most Americans feel absolutely better. And so we have numbers, friends. So if we love numbers, let's do this, because we see Overall, 93% of Americans reported having done something kind. So here we have the awareness, which is what Joanna is trying to show us, right? Being aware. Of course, we would love to be like Chico, where we wouldn't even notice. We would just be, but that's okay. We need to start somewhere. So if a high percentage of us is already, at least I know I did something, we got to say, okay, let's do it, right? Because that awareness is going to help us build that habit. 69% said hello to a stranger. 68% reported holding a door for someone. 65% reported to having given someone a compliment. Then we get to these other numbers. There's quite some gaps, but it's really interesting. 39% checked in on someone who seemed down or depressed. 33% donated goods, while 24% donated the money for the charitable cause. 19% gave up their seat. 17% paid someone's tab, and 11% volunteered. So despite those numbers, friends, it's an impact of kindness on our emotions, no matter how we look at it, right? For example, 56% of these respondents said, I felt so happy. 51% grateful. And only 3% were very indifferent or didn't really have that. And when we see that, that's fantastic. Those numbers give us a good indication that, you know what, there is a positive impact on doing kindness. Common places for kindness also are interesting. Just a fun fact here, because they can happen at the grocery stores. That was the number one place, which is beautiful, right? Because we see now it's more about the food and the survival, right? Friends, things at places of worship like churches or spiritual centers, right? At home, neighborhoods, and some other areas like the gyms and the schools. Those are beautiful places that, you know what, as a collective, people come together. And we see this a lot too. Major disasters, and right now, unfortunately, sending prayers to California, right? In situations like that too, we see how people come together, pull out, those kindness and emotions that are able to help. And of course, we have the holiday gratitude, which we just recently went through the holidays, and we see that increase. Now, let us imagine ourselves for a minute. So here we still kind of like, I need to bring in that awareness. I still have to like, oh, I did this. Okay. And then there's these places that we still they're still a little bit separated. So wouldn't it be amazing? And Chico was this all in one in that place with that scenario. And Joanna's like, okay, guys, we have some homework to do. Wouldn't it be incredible, friends, to be at this level? It's absolutely great. And at one point, it has to do in this understanding, like emotions are the soul's language, right? We know this, right? And delicate emotions like gratitude, love, compassion, they really do connect us to divine energy. So let us pause and think, how do we pause to feel gratitude for everyday blessings? So let me just ask this again, friends. How often do we pause to feel gratitude for everyday blessings? And it's really one of those questions, like it's so different and unique and so individualized to each and every one of us. But I think that with asking ourselves this question, it's going to really open up, right, our auras, our energetic fields, and help us to sincerely answer this. Now, there's many ways for there to answer. And I honestly, friends, the more sincere we are, I feel like it's better. So if, you know what, we don't do it often. Okay, I admit it. Okay, what am I going to do now, right? Instead of, trying to, say that we do it just because we want to come across as more divine. It's not really so much about that, because I want to say too that we could just maybe even if we pause one time, but it's so sincere, that could have a much bigger impact than 100 pauses a day that aren't, right? So it's really one of those questions where what's the intention? Where's the love? Where's everything that comes together? Because then we can use this, right, for our next steps in life. And Joanna continues saying, okay, so it's the small acts of kindness. It's the, right, how we are in gratitude. Now, what about these unconscious wishes? And she says, just to recap, many of our conscious wishes stem from our spiritual need and desire for growth. So, for example, longing for harmony might manifest as a deeper connection with family or community. So, it's interesting because this is sort of like goes hand in hand with this idea of us seeing how happiness, right, is no longer really tied to the wealth or the materialistics. Well, yes, there's nothing wrong, right? Again, our focus is on how to grow our spirituality. So all of these examples will be based on that. So when we have challenges, are we in that mindset of challenges transform us into growth, right? So when we are faced with a situation that feels unfulfilled, then or it's super difficult, we need to ask, what spiritual lesson is this situation offering me? There's this beautiful song, friends. I bring it up and I can't remember. Oh my gosh! But the message, the song goes so beautiful. There will be joy in the morning. Yes, it's like there will be joy in the morning, and then the singer beautifully says, if it's not good, it's because it's not done yet, because God is still working with it. And it reminded me so much of this, right? If we're in the middle of a challenge and it's not good, it's because God is not done with it yet. That means we still have to go in there and think about it and how. We really need to have those daily reflections. There's no way out of this, friends. There really isn't. We need to take each time and a little bit each day, even if it's just, again, it's about being sincere. And ask, is my goal aligned with my spiritual growth? Or am I really just seeking something temporary, right? Learning to detach ourselves from material resources as tools for good rather than as ends in themselves helps us to recognize our true worth and our values, right? And it's the insight, not what we own, what we own. So fostering these spiritual virtues, again, helps us to be in love, to be of forgiveness, and to be in gratitude. And so these elements reminds us that happiness is not from what we have, but from who we are and how we will grow spiritually, right? And so achieving personal goals aligned with moral and spiritual values contributes to inner peace. So let's think of an example. All of us would have a story for this, many. Overcoming a personal challenge with perseverance and faith. Friends, it was so hard to say, okay, maybe to share with friends something, because sometimes, sharing helps and we get perspective. And I went to so many places in my life that there were so many. But there was something common about all these situations from, this past year was very difficult. Dealing with a health issue. My gosh, that was probably one of the most interesting challenges. Dealing with the surgery and not being able to, it was funny because I couldn't speak for a while as the jaw was healing. I didn't get to eat much. For a while now, friends, I gained all the weight back. Boo-hoo, okay. But friends, when I was in that place, I started to realize, I didn't talk much for a couple of weeks, just as I gradually healed. And that in itself, it was a personal challenge for me, because I think it was coming in that it was coming to me as a lesson to listen more, and to appreciate the different types of communication. Being a teacher, I had just recently had the surgery, and I had to teach class, right? And I had to make choices. And I remember I went and I got, this is inspiration from the mentors. Got a little karaoke speaker, a little machine with a mic. And my gosh, we made the best of it. We had karaoke and, I would give the lessons with the microphone and gradually, started letting go. Didn't have a lot of facial expressions yet. And it was so challenging because the kids, the students, you always seem upset, Miss Ram. I said, I'm not upset. I have to, practice it. We've come a long way, but there were moments in there where, I wanted to give up. I felt like I wasn't good enough, and especially my job with my students and different areas, right? Even for Kardec Radio, how to do this. But friends, this challenge was in a way important because it took a lot of faith. It took a lot of perseverance. And now as time passed and the healing, is going, it's beautiful. We come out stronger with the new lessons, right? And again, it's funny, friends, and maybe in this perspective, how we could even think about it. Because during the experience, right, when I was, oh my gosh, friends, no, we don't even perceive the resilience that we have or how strong we are. It's not really until after, and then we do this daily reflection that Joanna say, and you look back at whatever experience, whatever challenge, how did I do that? Have you ever asked yourself that, friends? How? Right? And there's where we see the manifestation, right, of the mentors of God, Jesus, all the help we have, our own mindset and our prayers and people around us, the love, everything that comes together as a team, right? It's a team effort in all realms, right? Not just physically, and how it comes together. And you look back, friends, and you're like, oh my gosh. And we notice that when we do look back, the things that really come as a reflection, it's not so much, oh, how much money I made or how much of this, right? Well, depending, right, where we're at, most of us are like, wow, look at that strength that came out of that experience, that resilience, that faith that, I grew into, or that, grace or the mercy, or, studying something, making something of ourselves. And that's what Joanna is saying. When we are able to see the challenges not as, punishments or anything, but instead, as they come into our lives, they're here to show us, to help us, because it's that inner peace, like we saw with Chico in the cockroach. My gosh, right? It really is the ultimate state of happiness, to be there, right? To be aligning with our higher purpose and God's will. And there's so many ways, friends, that we can really cultivate inner peace in our daily lives, right? We could do this in different areas of our lives, at home, practicing with our family, right? With the situations that happen at work, so many things that can come into play throughout the day, to see those as just lessons for us to be working on this. Our relationships are so important. We're not here just because with the people that we know. There's always reasons for them. And of course, the inner practices that we do with ourselves, that's self-love. Everything at the end of the day, and Joanna says this, it comes to us, friends. So we start to see them. Happiness is a mosaic made of small, meaningful experiences and emotions. And friends, when we are there, no words, honestly, because that's sort of what it is. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. And this joy, peace that is in us, it manifests in the way it's needed. And we just need to trust it. And we need to trust it. And we need to do the work, because it's not going to work on itself. We can't be sitting here, friends, and expect that happiness comes, and to sort of build on that, to honor it, because when we see people, automatically want to judge them. Oh, God loves him or her more than me, right? We're judging the situation. No, that brother, that sister is going through the same struggles, but he or she did the work, and they're there. And who knows? If we're in that mindset, we could even say, this person came into our life to remind us of something. Maybe that's God's way, of reaching out to us, the mentors, right? But sometimes we can block all those messages when we're not in that vibration. So we have choices to make. So while this is beautiful for us, it does mean a lot of discipline. And what happens if we fail, friends? I ask my students all the time, do we give up? No. Let's get up. Let's move forward. Let's try it again. That's the beauty of life. So friends, this week we have homework. Let's create all these little joys, these small moments for us, but ultimately for others. Okay. And let's bring in that awareness on how to use these as tools for coping in challenging moments and to find ourselves growing, and growing. Friends, that is this today's message. And let us tune to other programs here at Kardec Radio, because all the messages at the end of the day end up connecting to help us, right, friends? So until next week, same place, same time, and let us remember that we are loved, friends. Bye.